So, but let's get into the first match. The big guy, Mr. Ryback versus Alberto Del Rio. Uh, what'd you think of that?
Well, as you guys know, Alberto Del Rio is the current United States champion. He won that a few pay-per-views back when John Cena had one of his infamous US Open challenges, and I always liked watching those, especially because, a lot of new people got to come in, like, got to see Stardust, Dolph, Dean, and a lot of people fought for that, and of course, they all lost. Then Del Rio came into the picture, and you guys know, if you've been keeping up with it for a while, I personally have been watching since about WrestleMania of 2014, so I'm not as in depth as most of you might be. But as you know, Del Rio was a part of WWE and then he left, but he made his return and then he answered the call, and now he's the United States champion. So basically, him and the big guy had their match. It was going back and forth, and it looked like Ryback was in trouble as it was. But of course, as you guys know, the League of Nations, which is Del Rio, King Barrett, aka Bad News Barrett, Sheamus, and Rusev, of course the rest of them came down to aid their friend, and
In a poorly booked interference, I might add. If they're going to bring the League of Nations down to interfere, they should book the interference a little bit better. It was subtle, I guess. I mean, it was very minimal. Um, which should have been the tip to a setup, of course, because Ryback lost via submission, which I would have liked to have seen a different ending, considering they came down and I mean, the League of Nations came down and interfered, um, and I guess that should have been a sign that there was going to be. After the match, the small beatdown that the League of Nations put on Ryback, but I felt like the beatdown was unnecessary and kind of pointless considering the way they booked the end of the match. I don't see it making much of a point. Um, so that's just
just
my 2 cents.
insult to injury, if you will. He was already down and out, he'd lost the match, but no, they felt the need to add to Ryback's embarrassment. That's just what heels do. I don't personally like it, but that's just how matches are booked. That's how heels are made. What can you do?
Okay, so moving on, we go to the promo with Tyler Breeze and Summer and Goldust. Um, uh, Honestly, the only thing that saved that promo for me was Goldust. What do you think? 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. What'd you think of the promo?
To 0. When he showed up, I'd give it a solid 3. Because while it wasn't great anyways, Goldust showing up definitely made it better, but not well enough to give it anything past a 3. So basically, as you guys know, Titus O'Neil, member of the Primetime Players, was in a match with Tyler Breeze, and of course Summer Rae was out there because she's Tyler Breeze's girlfriend. That couple for me is just Summer Rae and Rusev was bad. Summer Rae and Tyler Breeze is worse. So basically, as my father has already said, Goldust came down to run a little interference, basically just annoying Summer to no end. And then at one point, he got hold of Tyler's selfie stick, and he went over near the ring, and he was like, "Hey, you want to take a selfie?" Just his way of trying to annoy them further, which of course distracted Tyler, ultimately ending in Titus picking up the win. Titus got to celebrate, and while Summer checked on her poor boyfriend, Goldust further messed around with the selfie stick.
Yeah, I think that the Goldust interference in that match was, or the
Selfie stick interference?
yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't even necessarily interference, but it was a distraction. And I mean, obviously, it appears as though they're going to set up some sort of match with Goldust and Tyler Breeze, which seems the writing there I don't quite get. I mean, I understand that they probably brought Goldust back in because of slipping in the ratings and things that we've kind of been reading about, but I don't know, seems a little pointless. And at the end of the day, it kind of demeans Titus O'Neil, in my opinion, because There shouldn't need to be a distraction for him to beat somebody like Tyler Breeze. So that's just kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, because Tyson, himself, he is a good wrestler. As, like I said before, him and Darren Young make up the Primetime Players. They were a tag team once before, and then Titus turned heel and they broke up. But then a while back, I forget what happened, but Darren was being attacked, and Titus came to his aid, ultimately turning face and recreating the Primetime Players. And then they went on to become tag team champions, which, of course, now the New Day are champions again, but that's just how that goes. But Titus is a good wrestler, in my opinion. I'm a big fan, I will say, of Primetime Players, and I feel
Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah!
Yep. I feel like I agree with my dad. He shouldn't need help to win a match, period. Okay, tag team match, that's one thing. A match on his own, that's another thing. Especially against someone like Tyler Breeze. I feel like while it was very amusing to watch Goldust interfere, well, kind of distract whatever the selfie stick and all that, I feel like it was kind of not needed because Titus can win on his own. And if they wanted to involve Goldust, I think they should have done it without him distracting for Titus to pick up the win, because personally I think Titus could have won on his own.
All right, hey, let's move on to the next promo, okay? Let's move on to the Wyatt family promo. To be perfectly honest with everyone, I didn't even pay attention. I think I remember hearing something about Extreme,
Team
and
Extreme?
yeah, and let me just say this: I don't have a lot to say about this. They need to let the whole ECW angle die. I was a fan of ECW. I didn't really watch it a lot. Um, yeah, I think it served its purpose in wrestling history and and where we are today. But I think they're grasping at straws with how to deal with the Wyatt family, and I'm just not a big fan of that angle. I mean, 1, 2 matches, okay, great. Hopefully, they definitely let that go.
It was very interesting. Just, we've seen the Wyatt family face a diverse number of opponents. At one time around WrestleMania 2014, John Cena and Bray Wyatt had a massive feud, and then of course, at one point the Wyatt family had broken up. Luke Harper went his away, and then Eric Rowan had turned face, aiding Team Cena at 2014 Survivor Series, as some of you might know. And then, of course, things happened, time went on, the Wyatt family came back together. Also, with the adding of the newest member, Braun Strowman, who basically I don't like, and in my opinion looks like the love child of Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. That's all I'm going to say about him. But anyways, in the promo they're talking about how, oh, Team Extreme and all that other stuff, which to be honest, I didn't pay much attention myself because I don't like the Wyatt family, and I feel like they're kind of force-fed to us in a way because we've seen Bray Wyatt so much, like facing Roman, Dean. We've seen a little Wyatt family versus Roman, Dean, and the Usos, which was kind of cool, I'll admit, but between the League of Nations and everything else, it's just, I don't know. The Team Extreme thing, I think, is interesting. I kind of thought the whole Dudley Boys versus the Wyatt family feud its own, just by itself, was a okay feud, I guess. I'm kind of looking to see what's happening, but I feel like, okay, ECW, I wasn't around when ECW was made, obviously, although the whole Tommy Dreamer and Rhino thing is cool, I'll admit, but at the same time, I think they've kind of let it go on. Team ECW's lost most of the time, and it's not looking good, and honestly, if they want the Dudley Boys to go against the Wyatt family, they might need to pick other people that are out of the CW branch. The Dudley Boys obviously coming from there in the earlier years of their career. But ultimately, the Team Extreme thing, I think it's run its course.
And if everyone's getting sick of seeing the New Day and hoping that they don't cut any more promos, I'm gonna fry our some bad news. Because yeah, we got to see them dumbasses come down to the ring on Thursday and cut their little in-ring promo and talk about the olive branch that they extended to the
Extended.
other tag teams. Yes, and of course that was followed by the tag team match with the Lucha Dragons. Um, I don't know. Most of the tag team division now is kind of garbage, and most of it is like an overglorified cruiserweight division. And I feel like it's very repetitive. I mean, it's constant. It seems like a majority of the matches revolve around New Day, the Lucha
or
Dragons,
the
and
Wyatt family.
well, no, not when it comes down to the actual what's going on for tag team. No, the Wyatt family, yes, wrestle as a tag team, but they're not in the tag team division. I mean, they're not going after belts, which pretty much
Yeah,
centers around Lucha Dragons, the Usos, and
there aren't many tag teams to be honest.
well, yeah, and with once Cesaro and his partner kind of had to end because of the injury to Tyson Kidd. But even then, that's how many times can you book somebody in a match? I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. I think they totally need to revamp their tag team division. I don't have a whole lot to say about that. So,
Yeah, tag team division might have gone downhill over the years. I mean, the Shield was a very good tag team, but as you guys know, it ultimately ended, and there aren't really many tag teams. The Wyatt family, of course, but they're not, as my dad was saying, they don't like go after the belts. Same with like Team Extreme and all that. They're not in it for the belts. And League of Nations, they really don't need that because they have a United States champion and a King of the Ring and a former heavyweight champion. So they're good there. But, of course, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, good tag team. With the injury to Tyson Kidd, they, as my dad said, had to break up. Cesaro still wrestles, although we have not seen much of him lately. But he was wrestling a lot for the while. And of course, you have the primetime players, but you don't see a lot of them anymore. Like a lot of stuff with Titus O'Neil, but you don't see much Darren Young. You do have the Usos, and unfortunately, the New Day. You have the Lucha Dragons, and what's that one tag team? The Ascension? They're kind of like the primetime players. You don't see them really at all. Really, all we've been seeing right now is
I'd like it better if we didn't see them at all.
yeah, all we've been seeing now is Titus O'Neil on his own, and then of course New Gay or
Moving on, we had the Ziggler promo, um, which I understand. Obviously, they're either building towards some sort of decent match with Owens and Ziggler, or they're going to build towards a triple threat for the title between them two and Dean Ambrose. That's pretty much appears to be the way they're working that. I know. I don't even remember there being a Dean Ambrose promo, but you said there was one in the SmackDown
promo of
this week.
sorts. He had an interview with Renee Young. Basically, what happened there is Renee asked him what his thoughts are on Kevin Owens' threats of putting him in the asylum and taking back the Intercontinental Championship. Long story short, Dean, being Dean, of course, said, "Okay, that's really cute. Not gonna happen. You can't do something that's already happened. You can't make me crazy when I'm already crazy. So good luck with that. Go back to the drawing board." That's basically all of what happened between the interview with Renee and Dean.
So let's move on. How about that Brie Bella versus Becky Lynch? Um, I know that you're pretty fond of the women's division. Um, I it's definitely had its ups and downs, and
More
of
downs than
course,
ups.
a lot of the guys just kind of view it as an eye candy type of a thing. But they really are getting much, much better at wrestling than I think they ever have been as a whole. Of course, there's been some females who've done some really great things and were really great in-ring performers, but nowadays they really steal a show in a lot of cases. It's pretty obvious to everyone, I think, that they're turning Charlotte heel, which makes sense since her father, the Nature Boy, was the dirtiest player in the game. But I just I don't know. I don't like the way they're going about it. I think the whole three team thing was kind of cool um, initially, and it's they really kind of just I don't know. I don't feel like they handled that too. And they're and in a general, but with the women's division, there's a lot of these flip flopping with heel face turns, and I mean it's way too much. I'm kind of anxious for them just to get that over with, but as far as the match goes, yeah, I mean Becky Lynch and Brie, they put on a fairly decent match, and obviously Becky Lynch got the win there.
With some assists of the Nature Boy star Charlotte. much like Raw, only the only difference is the Nature Boy himself was there, and he assisted the girls in winning. Becky had put, I forget who it was, but she had put one of her opponents, Alicia Fox. Yes, I apologize. She put Alicia Fox in the disarmer, ultimately winning. And then, of course, in Smackdown, Charlotte aided her, and she put Brie in the disarmer, and again, won via tap out. So, and then Charlotte, she's turning heel, of course, because, well, it might as well. Her dad, of course, was a Nature Boy. He is the dirtiest player in the game, so Charlotte, of course, is going to follow in her father's footsteps. And one thing that happened after the match with Becky and Brie, Becky was backstage. She was upset, of course, about the win, and Charlotte's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you," da 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 da, and Becky's just like, "Yeah, that's great, but I wanted to do that on my own." Raw, okay, I understand that's your dad, that's how he is, but then no, you do this again. Why? I could do this on my own. And Charlotte, bless Charlotte, she went and said, maybe without meaning to, although, let's be honest, she's turning heel, she probably meant this. She, without fully saying it, more or less said Becky can't win a match on her own, which offended the last kicker very deeply, ultimately ending with Becky storming off and Charlotte just shaking her head. So more of that drama basically is what went down on SmackDown in the Divas division.
A lot of people don't like Owens. I'm not a big fan of Owens. I don't like him. But that being said, he does his job. If people hate him, that means he's being a good heel. I know there's a lot of people that make fun of his body and, he doesn't have a wrestler's look, et cetera, et cetera. But actually, man, the guy, he busts his ass in the ring. Him and Ziggler both. Ziggler's very underrated, and these two, I think, can have some good programs together. Um, but, you know, um, I, to have, Owens walk away from his matches all the time.
Walk Owens walk.
Yeah, walk Owens walk. But to have him now then be going on this almost psychotic, I'm gonna, put Dean's in a
Mental institution.
yeah, exactly, and I'm gonna put Ziggler in the hospital before this night's over with, or however he put that. But the thing about it is it almost, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense considering the dude walks away from his matches all the time. Uh, to me, they really need to work on some of that stuff. But as far as it goes, I mean, the match was, fairly good. If you look at it in terms of the rest of the show, and of course, as those of you who have watched the show, it ended with Owens getting DQ'd. And then, of course, you had her her heartthrob Dean Ambrose come to the ring and go after Owens, and of course then Owens did what he does best, and that is
Walked Owens walked.
yep. And then you kind of had Ambrose go to check on Ziggler, and I don't know, but to me, it really looked the way they booked that and the way the commentators were talking and discussing it. It kind of looked like maybe they're going to turn Ziggler heel. It looked like the super kick was intentional, and it looked like they were playing that as that he just out of frustration did it, and not necessarily because he didn't realize it was Ambrose. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out more on Raw, but right now it appears like possibly they're going to turn Ziggler heel. Um, you know, got any thoughts on that match?
I personally, it's like, again, they do it in the Divas division, they're doing it with male wrestlers. They feel the need to turn everyone heel, and oh, for the love of Dean Ambrose, why are they doing this? I mean, they have enough heels, I think. A majority of the Divas division, it's kind of small as it is, and most of those Divas are either heel or people cheer them, but they do tend to show heel tendencies more than face tendencies. Then now you got Dolph getting frustrated, super kicking Dean, and who knows what he'll do next at this point. Please, no more super kicking Dean, though. Just don't do it. Just don't, please. But honestly, I don't really know what to say. I mean, I kind of did expect the whole walk Owens walk, and of course, well, again, he walks Owens walks, so of course he's gonna walk away. I did expect him to get himself disqualified because he does that one a lot as well, and the beatdown of Dolph, that was all expected. You know, Dean coming down there, all of it, you pretty much knew that was gonna happen. The super kick, didn't expect that, I will admit, but I can understand because Dolph probably is frustrated. Like he was saying in his interview, he's kind of always in the background and he's very frustrated with himself for not always taking initiative when he probably should. So frustration built up, he was tired, he was frustrated, he super kicked Dean. Now, I disagree with Jerry on this. Jerry's thinking, well, maybe he was frustrated, he just couldn't tell. No, no, he knew it was Dean. He knew. He just super kicked him. Whether that was out of frustration or purposely on the intent of just wanting to super kick Dean, we don't know right now, but I'm sure we will find out on Raw.
Pretty much 1 to 5, 5 again being the best. How would you rate this week's SmackDown?
All in all, I'd give it a 4. It doesn't touch 5 because, so much with flip flopping and the way the books are in matches. I feel like maybe not their best, but let's be honest, SmackDown isn't. It's good. It's no Raw. It certainly is no pay per view, but yeah.
I think she's being too generous. SmackDown is definitely the second-rate show. No competition for Vince McMahon, and the WWE is hurting the product. SmackDown to me is always the lesser show, and I don't know. I have to. If I was going to be nice, I'd give it a 2.5.
2.5.
I just pretty much that's all I got to say about that. I'm Domino.
I'm Alex. We'll see you again on Monday. That's all for now. Let us know what you thought of the video and, of course, of SmackDown down below in the comments. I will see you with my next video hopefully tomorrow. And if not, I will see you on Sunday. And again, we'll see you on Monday with our rant/review of Monday Night Raw. Peace.